Hello people, welcome to Art with Miss Miller. Today we're going to be learning about some SEL, some social emotional learning by thinking about feelings that we experience in our body as an iceberg. So you may or you may not know what an iceberg is. An iceberg is a huge piece of ice that was part of a glacier, and it has cracked off of the glacier that it belonged to once, and it's now sitting in the ocean, floating around doing its iceberg thing. So the thing that is really cool about icebergs is, let me focus this on the screen so you can see. You just make sure you can see that. There you go, it's a little better. Is that this beautiful iceberg is sitting on the outside, or sorry, sitting above the water. This could technically be a glacier. I can't see this entire thing, so it could really be like a whole glacier, but it doesn't matter because the thing that I'm going to show you, you're still going to be able to see. So we have this beautiful part that is sitting above the water, and we can see it with our eye. But the thing that's really awesome about icebergs is that you can't actually see the majority of the iceberg above the water. The most of the iceberg sits underneath the water. So only a little bit of it are we ever actually able to see with our eye. If we were on that water, we'd only see a little bit of that iceberg sitting out. It's not really going to tell us that much about how big that iceberg really is. We have to go underneath the surface to be able to see how much iceberg sits underneath the water that we just can't see if we're sitting in a boat or flying in a plane and see that iceberg. So we're going to be using the iceberg today as a way of talking about the emotions that we can see on the surface, or the emotions that we allow people to see when we're out in public and we might be feeling a feeling. That's the top of the iceberg. That's what we allow people to see. But we're going to be thinking today about what are the things that are happening underneath the surface? What are the things that are happening inside of our bodies? And how can we help ourselves by labeling those things so that we have more tools to be able to live the kind of life that we want to be able to live? All right, here we go. I'm going to start drawing right now. All right, so now that we know a little bit about glaciers, we can get started on our drawing that we are going to use a glacier to help us understand. So you could use a pencil if you want to. I'm not going to use a pencil because this shape that we're going to start drawing, it doesn't need to be perfect. Glaciers are not perfect. So we're just going to start at the top, and we're just going to kind of make like a wavy line. It doesn't need to be perfect. It should not be like an oval. It shouldn't be a straight line, even if it's curved. So I'm going to leave myself a little bit room at the top, and I'm just going to let my pen kind of make some wavy lines. You can make it more wavy or less wavy. Doesn't really matter. I so feel like Bob Ross because I just wanted to be like, you know, it's whatever way your iceberg is. So, got my little iceberg. Okay. So first you just want to start with a shape that is closed, so it's not open, and it doesn't really matter what shape it is because, like I just said, icebergs are very organic shapes, so they don't need to have a particular shape about them. Okay, what we do need is we need a top, and we need some space that's going to be underneath the water, because the whole thing about an iceberg is that you can only see the part that is sticking out of the water, and usually you can only see a very small amount than what is actually underneath. So we're going to now make a water line that is going to cut our iceberg into the things that you can see on the surface, so above the water, and the things that you can see below the surface, things that are underneath the water. You can make a wavy line. I'm gonna make mine look kind of like waves so I can really get that kind of watery feel going on. And we do want to leave enough room at the top because we need to write about what's going on in the top of the iceberg. So Most of my iceberg is now underneath the surface, and a little bit of it is above the surface. Beautiful. And now what we're gonna do is we break up the iceberg into the things that you can see above the surface and below the surface. And we are gonna be thinking about when I get my feelings hurt. Oops, I just made that an F. That's supposed to be an H. When I get my feelings hurt, except that looks kind of like furt or maybe Bert, but it is hurt. That is the one time that doing it in pen, not the best, but that's okay. It's all good. So we are thinking about this iceberg as the things that you can see on the surface when I get my feelings hurt, and the things that happen underneath the surface. Maybe things that are happening inside my body that I don't let other people know are happening. This happens inside all of us. And our amygdala in our brain, it's our part of our brain, is part of why this happens. Sometimes the things that are above the water actually end up being things that are safer for us to feel than things that are underneath the surface. And we'll talk about that more as we start to fill this in. So I'm going to say at the top, I feel sad. And this is your word that you're going to plug in. You can put whatever word you want to there. I feel sad on the surface. I feel sad on the surface. So what that might look like, you might want to draw some of the different things that it makes you feel. Or you could also draw, let me think about, this is when I do need a pencil. I'm going to draw a stick figure kind of, but I'm going to give them a little bit of a body. And I'm going to think about, what does my body look like when I feel hurt? And I am a person that my body language tells a lot about me, which maybe I should not be saying on this video. But I'm going to think about how my arms might be crossed. And that might be telling people outside my body how I might actually be feeling about a particular situation. Try and cross these arms. Looking a bit funky. There we go. So my arms might be crossed. That is a protective body stance, right? Because you're actually covering your body. You feel hurt and sad. So you're actually, when you cross your arms over your body, that's a protective body stance. You are crossing over the protective parts, or like if something happens to your body cavity, so like where your chest is and your stomach, a lot of internal organs are in this space in your body. So when you get upset and you cross your arms over that part of your body, you're protecting those internal organs that it would be really dangerous if something happened to them. So that body language actually has a lot to do with what's happening underneath the surface. You might be able to see those crossed arms, but you can't necessarily tell what that means for underneath the surface. This could also look angry. Depending on how you get your feelings hurt, sometimes it can look like anger. I'm going to change my pen color so that we can really see these things. So you might feel angry. When I think about some other things, I feel like maybe my eyes, I'm going to try to do this. They are not looking at the person. If I'm really feeling like my feelings are hurt, My eyes are looking away from the person that hurt my feelings. Just gonna give it some pupils so that hopefully that looks a little bit more like my eyes are looking down. So I might not want to actually look at the person who hurt my feelings if I'm really feeling that sad. That might be another thing that you can tell. Those eyes look so crazy because they're pink, but that is okay. So these are some things that I could feel in my body when I am experiencing this feeling of getting my feelings hurt. Noticing what my body does when I have those hurt feelings is a really good first step for me to be able to unlock what is actually happening underneath the surface. These pieces are not actually as helpful as these ones down here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually come up with a situation, because it's a lot easier to think about these things when you think about a situation. So I'm gonna think about a couple of different things and I'm gonna write them down. So these are real things that happened in my childhood. Somebody said that my hair is ugly. Someone laughs at me when I get the wrong answer. No one wants to play with me. So I'm gonna just leave these three, because I think even with these three, we can see how this connects better to what's going on if we choose a really specific thing instead of just when my feelings get hurt. Yeah, these things are true, but I'm gonna now think about just one of them as I go into this, what's happening underneath the surface. And if you, when you do this activity, obviously this activity is going out to a lot of different people, so I didn't want to just put one thing in here, which is why I put when I get my feelings hurt. You go ahead and think about what's a specific about when you got your feelings hurt. What happened? What did somebody say or do that hurt your feelings? And that's going to help you start to build this part that goes on underneath the surface. All right, I'm going to take out some crayons. Okay, I think I want to do No One Wants to Play With Me. That's the one that I'm going to choose. I'm just going to circle it. All right, so I might look angry, or maybe I'm just pretending that I don't see all of the kids that are playing and I'm gonna go play by myself. But the thing that's really happening underneath the surface is I feel lonely. So I don't actually feel angry. What I feel is lonely. But if I feel just anger, then I don't have to feel this feeling that actually feels so much sadder and harder than feeling just angry. Then another thing that it makes me feel is like I'm not important. I should have given myself more room to write this. Like I'm not important. Again, that is way harder to feel than feeling angry. feeling angry, we can protect ourselves. Just like this body stance helps protect those internal organs, sometimes a feeling can actually be doing that too. And when we feel angry, instead of feeling like we're not important, this feeling of anger protects us from having to feel these feelings that actually are a lot harder to deal with. Then you might even tell yourself a story. That's something that our brains really love to do. They love to tell us a story about why things are happening. And that story might be, oops, I just misspelled again. You'll never have friends. You know that you'll looks pretty weird. So again, this is another really, really hard feeling. You'll never have friends, but that feeling really is what's going on inside of my body. But if I choose anger and I choose to just be angry about it, then I don't have to look at the thing I actually think about myself is that you'll never have any friends. Then I think I might, this isn't exactly a feeling, but this I think is something that does very much happen. And I'm going to try to just reference it with pictures. So this is an eye, and I'm going to draw some people like across the playground who are playing with each other. And they got some jump ropes. Yeah, they're having fun jump roping together. And I am across the playground, but I am watching them. And I am wishing that I was playing with them. So that is me watching these kids play. I might be just, again, playing by myself and pretending like I don't care and I'm not going to look and I'm not going to watch them. But we all know that at some point, right, you are going to watch those people that are playing and you might feel like, I wish I could play too. But if we just feel angry, we don't have to feel lonely. We don't have to feel like I'm not important or I'll never have any friends. I know this is very sad, but this is really what happens inside of all of us. And being in schools, they're complicated places. There are a lot of different types of people that all come together in schools. And so all the time, all of us, we're all creating different types of feelings inside each other. Sometimes they're really good feelings. This is just looking at what can happen with a maybe an unwanted feeling. They're still really important, but you might not want to have that feeling right then and there. Then, trying to decide what should go in here. Let me just think about this for a second and put myself back in elementary school. I think I want to put one up here because one of the things that I would do is, let me use a different color. I would push people away. And that is really common when you do have so many of these feelings going on underneath the surface. Sometimes a strategy that our brains use is we try to not allow people to come close to us. So we might get in fights, we might call names, we might just kind of blow up on people as a way to keep them away, so that way we don't ever have to be hurt by them deciding to leave. So that was a strategy that I used a lot as a kid. I would push people away because if they never got too close to me, then they couldn't leave me and I wouldn't feel alone or like I wasn't important. So if I never let people get inside, become my friend, which let me just say they weren't trying to in this particular situation, but what all of this created inside of me, it then, when I went to a different school where people did want to be my friend, I couldn't stop being angry and pushing people away because I was so hurt by all of these pieces of my iceberg that I didn't know were there. I only knew that I felt angry or hurt or sad when people hurt my feelings. But I didn't know it was because I felt lonely. I didn't know that it was because I felt like I wasn't important, or that I would never have friends, or that I wanted to be able to play too. I just knew that the situation made me feel angry and made me feel hurt. So this was one type of iceberg that is when we get our feelings hurt. On this side of the page, I'm gonna switch and we're gonna do when we hurt somebody else's feelings. So let me just move my crayons. All right, I'm gonna make my iceberg. And I'm gonna make my little water line. Dude. Okay, so this one is when I accidentally hurt somebody else's feelings. Whoops. Okay, so this one is pretty complicated because people act a lot of different ways when they hurt somebody else's feelings. So the ways that you might act might be different than how somebody else might act. And actually, I can't even completely do this right now because I'm so aware of this. So I have to pretend like I don't know what I know. And let's see. This is not what I do. So this is not an example of me like this one was. I'm gonna do an example of generally what humans do. I too have been in that category at one point in my life. I just am not anymore because I paid so much. First, I paid so much attention to my own iceberg of how I was feeling in my own body when I got hurt by other people. Seeing all of these pieces and seeing the pieces that are hidden and that are about relationship and are about not feeling like those people care about you, understanding this about me helped me understand what was going on underneath the surface of other people when I was the one hurting their feelings. So what I do now is very different than the ways that I've been in the past. So I'm going to do kinds of the ways that humans generally handle hurting other people's feelings. So saying, I didn't mean to. This is very common, and this is about taking away blame from you. It isn't actually saying, I care that I hurt you. It's saying, I didn't mean to hurt you. So somebody's saying, I'm really hurt, and then this person says, I didn't mean to hurt you. this person's still going to be hurt, and they're going to actually be even more hurt that the way that this person responded was to say, I didn't mean to hurt you, even if it sounded like I didn't mean to hurt you. That's not saying, what did I do to hurt you? How can I help make it better? What do you need from me? How can I repair this with you? That is about that connection and rebuilding that connection. But just saying, I didn't mean to, it's kind of like, well, I don't really have to care that you're hurt because I didn't mean to hurt you. And I know nobody means that by what that says, but that's actually what it does in relationship because it's not offering to help. So I didn't mean to. Or I'm having a bad day. Might be true. Still not a reason to treat somebody else badly. Still not a reason to say, what can I do to help you? What else? Maybe avoid. Or leave the situation. The feelings might be too big to handle. So you might just find a way to be able to run away. The amygdala helps with that as well because it shuts down our brain when we have too big of a feeling. And then we have very limited options. And those are fight. So you might actually get into an argument with somebody. You might flight. And that is when you try and figure out a way to get away from the situation, just like a bird flies away. Flight, you try to figure out how to get away from this situation. You might freeze. You might not know what to do, not know what to say. All of a sudden, your brain just stops and you're not sure what to say to that person to help rebuild that connection. To be able to say, I'm really sorry. What can I do to help you next time? That might not happen. You might be like, ugh. That is a freeze. Then the last one is fawn. And fawn is when you start telling the person like, oh no, you're so amazing. I love everything about you. I would never do anything to harm you. But you did. This person saying, but I love you so much. You're so amazing. Oh my gosh. It doesn't actually change that this person got hurt. You're just telling them everything you can to tell them how amazing they are as a way to avoid that you hurt their feelings. So those are some things that are happening underneath the surface. Above the surface. But underneath the surface, the things that might be happening are you might feel scared. You might not be sure what to do or what to say. You might be worried about losing a friend. You might even, trying to think how to word this. You might be upset at yourself that you hurt that person's feelings. So you might be let down. At your choices. So you might actually feel really sad about the choices that you made. But if you say, I didn't mean to do that, it's a way to touch on this feeling let down over your choices without ever having to say, you know what? I made a mistake and I really didn't mean to do that. Can you tell me what you would like me to say next time? That is about asking this person, how do I help you? How do I give you what you need? But when we just say, I didn't mean to do that, I didn't mean to do that. What is this person supposed to say? How are they supposed to react to that? They can't, because that is still about this person's feelings. It's about this person feeling bad about doing the wrong thing. So I think I might even put that you are, and do it like that. Because I think a lot of people feel this way when they make mistakes. They feel like they are bad, and that if they are bad, then somebody might judge them. And that's when somebody decides that they get to say something about who you are, or who they think you are, based off of something that you say or do or look like. That is being judged. So you might be feeling judged when that person gets their feelings hurt. You might be like, oh, I was wrong. But that's happening in your head. And then you don't say it to this person, I was wrong. Instead, you're like thinking it in your head, oh my gosh, I was wrong. I can't believe I'd be that dumb. That doesn't help this person. That's about this person. So these are some really complicated and big feelings. Feeling scared, feeling bad, feeling judged, feeling let down at your choices, worrying about losing a friend. Those are all huge life emotions. Those are big emotions that even if you just pluck out one of those, they're hard to deal with. They're hard to have resources for. So when there are this many different things happening over one thing that happened to you, it can be really hard to see all these things underneath the surface. And that's why it's so important that we start to notice these things inside of ourselves so that we stop just reacting off of the part that is on the top of the water. We need to be able to slow down and start to see these things that are happening underneath. Because when we can see that we're scared and we're being these two people, the hurt person and the person that hurt the feelings, when we can see that this person inside themselves, they see that they're scared, they might be able to say, you know what? I'm feeling really scared that I might lose you as a friend, and I don't want that. I do want to try and fix this with you. If you can tell me about why it hurt you, I really want to know so that I can do better next time. So there are different reasons that these are all really important. They give us tools to be able to fix the pain. Just like when you get to see the pain that's going on inside of your body, you can help give yourself skills so that you don't have to keep telling these same stories of you'll never have a friend or I'm not important. You might be able to see this situation differently and say, you know what? There isn't anything wrong with me. Maybe it's the people I'm trying to be friends with that just aren't kind people. It's not that I'm not important. They're just not kind and they don't care about being my friend. So that's why it's really important for us to be able to break down these two different types of icebergs, because it's important for us to see the things that the amygdala sometimes hides from us, because these emotions are so difficult to work with and work through. So Counselor Carrie came up with some different sentence stems that you can use. And you just think about this for a second. I think this one, when you hurt someone's feelings, one of the sentence stems you could use is I feel, and then some feeling word, or, finish the whole sentence if you wanted to. I feel blank when. So instead of saying, I didn't mean to, we can say, I feel scared when I say the wrong thing to you because I worry I might lose your friendship. Or I feel judged when I make a mistake, but I know that's not your fault. I feel let down at my choices. I can't even tell you, right? I've been this person who's been hurt a lot. And hearing somebody say to me, I feel let down at my choices, I'd really want to listen to what they had to say versus, I didn't mean to say that, or I didn't mean for you to hear it like that. That's not what I meant. Those are about protecting the amygdala feelings of this person. It's not about, what do you need from me? So that is a sentence stem you could use. I feel blank when. And then over here, when you're the one who got your feelings hurt, you can say, I feel blank, period. I need blank. And this is super important because it's important to be able to label what you feel and also what you need. Because if you want the situation to change, it's not on you to change it. But if you can see a way that it could be changed, that's going to be really helpful. So let me just try it with some of these things I have. I feel lonely. I need a friend to play with. I feel like I'll never have any friends. I need someone to help me with these feelings. I feel like I wish I could play too. I need an adult to help me ask. There are a lot of different ways that this could go, but this is just one sentence frame that could help you say, I feel this way. That's not just hurt, because hurt doesn't actually give us any detail. It's not the same as, I feel like I'm not important. I need a hug. That gives way more information. I'm feeling like I'm not important. The thing I'm needing right now is a hug. So these are two sentence stems. I feel blank. I need blank. And I feel blank when. So those are two different sentence stems that you can use to help you understand these emotions. And you can make your own icebergs about a lot of different things in life. All kinds of different things in life are very much like this. What are the things that you see on the surface? And what are the things that are really being felt or are really happening that you can't see on the first look? So I hope that you enjoyed this activity, and I hope that you tried it along with me. Hopefully you discovered some new things about yourself. All right, until next time.